from your mouth. Give me something, please leave nothing out. Tell me a story from your Make me a good guy, not a woulda, shoulda, could guy. Make me a story from your mouth. Make me a villain now, won't that just be thrilling? No, make me a story from your Make me a victim, fit me in your system. Make me a story from your mouth.
So there's just energy, just aliveness, and that's all there is. So, any questions?
All right, we can go.
Yeah, pretty much.
How was your trip over?
Lively.
Travel.
All good.
Good.
Yeah. There's just, all there is energy, and energy quietudes and microphones and seats and questions, how was your trip over, and cups, and all there is energy. That's all there is. And that then what we feel, or we appear to feel, is this sense that we are solid and real. So there's a really felt sense that I am me. I am an individual. So what happens, or appears to happen, is a sense that there's aliveness. So, there's a car gone there, and there's kind of, there's a cough, and there's whatever, and there's I'm alive. So there's an embodied sense of feeling that I have a life. And this is what we're going to talk about all weekend. This is a sharing from nobody, from nothing, just from nothing. This is not a teacher. There are no teachers, there are no gurus, there are no masters. There is nothing to know. There's nothing to understand. There's nowhere to get to. And here is this illumination that sense that you have of having a life is a complete, total fiction. It's just a story. It's a contracted, energetic, cellular sense of being in your body. It's your body, and of looking out on the world, and a sense that there are other people you have a life, and there are other people who have a life. And we tend to feel this from when we're very, very young. There's being a baby, there's just being an infant, and there's pooing and sleeping and eating and everything. And then at some point there's a sense that there's the mother and you. And then there's a sense then of there's other people. And then as you appear to grow up, then you're told by your parents and your teachers and your family and everyone that you have a life. And it seems to get more complex then. It's your life, and you have control over your life, and you have the ability to make choices, to bring about things in your life. So it goes completely unquestioned, this sense we have, and it gets continually just reinforced and appears to get stronger and stronger until we kind of emerge into adulthood, and we're kind of, well, it's off you go now. So, make the most of your life and do what you got to do and whatever. And most people don't really kind of question it, really. It's totally unquestioned. You say, of course I have a life. And what are you doing with your life and all of this? And it's a lived reality. It's not an idea. It's a lived sense of looking out and being in there behind the eyes. Or it's different for everyone. Some people feel more up here, and some people feel more in the body or whatever. And that's the way it appears to go then. But there's a question then. And for some that question is louder than others. Some are just kind of lost in the story of living their life and being their best selves. and doing whatever they're doing, you know, building a career or whatever it is. Everyone's story is different. But for some there's a sense, there's something kind of missing. There's a yearning, and there's a sense that there's something in this reality that I have a life and I'm seeing everything. There's a question about it. And there may be then a sensitivity to another possibility. And that other possibility is is shared this weekend. And the other possibility you would imagine as an individual, because you feel you have a life and you know your life and you know things about life, you feel that you're missing something. So therefore you think that the other possibility is you understanding something, knowing something, getting something, finding something, having an experience, being in a state. Because if there's a sense of lack, then it makes sense that you could find that thing that's missing, and then this would fill the void. So you then are kind of open to hearing different communications from different people who say, oh, I understand your sense of yearning and your sense of unworthiness, and I too felt like this, and it's because of whatever. And then we hear all these kind of teachings and prescriptions, be they religious or spiritual or whatever. And none of these are wrong or right. They're just what appears to happen. And we were kind of energetically drawn to one, maybe more than another. And we feel that there's people who know things, and maybe if I apply the reality that I've experienced to now, where I work hard at something, I'll get somewhere, then that same reality would apply to what I'm looking for overall. So if I stay quiet, or I do self-inquiry, or I kind of try and trace the I back, or I do meditation or whatever, maybe I'll be there then. And that is completely understandable. Of course, this is how we would think of it. For some, there's this, what's been shared, there's an openness to this. And that openness is energetic, completely, totally and utterly energetic. It's not about understanding anything this evening or over the weekend at all. The understanding is what comes from the sense that you have a feeling separate, that there's something to know. So you logically think then there's something to get or there's something to know. And actually what you're yearning for, what's being yearned for, is completely, immediately just whatever's appeared to happen. It is totally unknowable and ungraspable and inescapable. So it can be that there's going to be, what we will see now this evening is there's going to be questions, because there's going to be a sense that there's people that feel that they're sitting in the chair and that they're looking at someone here talking, and that they came here. So you may feel that you arrived here from you saw an advertisement, or you saw something, you jumped in the car and you came here and you want to know what's being spoken about. And that is absolutely, completely appropriate. Of course you do. That's totally fine. So there'll be a question then. A question will come up. And an answer will appear to come from here. But it's from nothing. So energetically, there's going to be a question and appear to be an answer. And actually what this whole thing is not about the question or the answer. So it's just like that question and answer kind of helps illuminate what's too obvious and immediate and ordinary and directly just whatever is appearing. So that sense then that you have of feeling separate may actually just not be there. Possibly. It could just not be there. The sense that you're speaking and you're sitting in the chair, it may not be there. If it appears to be there, then that's what's appearing to happen. It's not right or wrong. But energetically, that lived sense of you having a life could collapse. So paradoxically, you would imagine that you come here to get something, to find something out, to know something. And paradoxically, actually, it could be seen that what you always yearned for was losing something. It was a loss. Never again. It was a loss of the sense that you had a life. It was a loss of the sense of you, this story of you. And then if it is lost, it's seen, it was never there. It was always a story. It felt real, it energetically really feels that you're sitting in the chair, you're speaking, you're seeing everything, you're hearing sounds, you're thinking, you're feeling emotions. It really does feel like that if you feel separate. And it can just be seen, there's just sound, there's just thought, there's just emotion, there's just sitting in the chair. And that's all there is aliveness. There's never has been a you that is alive, ever. And there's never been anyone else who is alive. There are no separate individuals. There is no separation at all. There are no objects. Nothing exists in and of itself. There's life clocking, life chairing, life cameraing, life. Energy, that's all there is. So essentially what you've always yearned for has never gone anywhere, had never left you, and has always simply been whatever was appearing to happen. But you were lost looking for it. So we'll just share like this, and we'll see. You cannot go wrong with this. You cannot. It's impossible to go wrong with this. You do not have to agree with anything that's said. You do not have to understand. It's not graspable. It doesn't matter. So if there's a question, it's just there and it can be asked, or you could not ask it. It doesn't matter. There is nobody in this room. There's no separate individual in this room. There's aliveness appearing as room and peopling. That's all. It's so simple that we continually overlook it in favor of something that could be or might be. So we'll see what we'll see what happens. We'll see what apparently happens. That was a bit longer than yours.
Kenneth, what do you mean peopling?
So if I feel like an individual, right,
Yeah.
I have a lived sense that I'm now speaking to somebody.
Yeah.
And I have a lived sense that I'm speaking
Yeah.
and I'm sitting on the chair.
Absolutely.
So when that sense of separation isn't there anymore, it's very ordinary and very natural. It's what's very clear straight away is that there are no others either. So I'm not speaking to an individual because there are no individuals. There's only aliveness. Aliveness as that body, aliveness as this body, and everything is nothing, and nothing is everything. It's all unconditional love. So the sense of speaking to somebody is directly from the sense that I am somebody, and if I am somebody, I feel like a subject, and I see an object, whether it's you as an individual or that speaker or that door over there or whatever it is. And this is the apparent reality we feel we live in as individuals. It's a dream, it's a dualistic dream in which you only see things and you live in the real. So you never actually meet anybody as they actually are, because what you meet is your idea of them. Yeah, you meet your experiences and your memories of them, and all your cultural kind of ideas of the colour of their skin and their age and their clothes they're wearing and all of this, and you never see you never see anything as it actually is. You're in a story which you think is reality, and that's what. When you feel like that, there's a yearning then, because there's a yearning. It's like you're living in the real, but it's a half alive thing, because it's just something, and no thing isn't seen. So it's a half alive sensation. Whether you are conscious or aware of it, it doesn't matter. Most people aren't. But there's a sense that there's something missing that they can't put their finger on.
Well, I feel there's a conscious of, like you said, looking at the age or their culture, whatever. It's conscious. It feels
Yeah.
that's not there, huh?
Well, all there is aliveness. Like,
I can't imagine.
yeah, but you won't ever be able to imagine. But the amazing thing is that there's nothing here that isn't there.
Yeah.
But what you think is, when someone speaks like this, and if you feel like an individual, what you try and do is, this is completely understandable, obviously, that you imagine that they're in some sort of state that you're not in.
Yeah.
And so then you think, oh, what's it like to be them?
Yeah.
And incredibly, there's no difference except that there's an additional thing if you feel like an individual that isn't here. So it's not that, it's the reverse of what you think it is. You feel that the person speaking has something I don't,
Right.
and it's the opposite way around, is that I have something they don't, but I don't even have it, really. And that thing is me. It's a sense of being a me. It's really, it's not an idea, feeling like an individual. It really is a lived, cellular sense that I have a life. It feels absolutely real. And then I know this and I know whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm living my life. You really feel like you're living, I'm making decisions over my life. I'm the CEO, managing director of my life. And it's a joke. The whole thing's a story. You have never had a life. Ever. Nobody ever has had a life. Nobody was ever born or died. Only in the story. Isn't that amazing?
It's beautiful.
And it's just so normal and natural, and it's just actually how things are. But then if you're in this dualistic dream, you the lived sense, you do have a life. And what do you mean now? Of course I have a life. You have a life. So what we'd all, once we feel separate, what we think we have a sense we're looking for something, but that thing is around the next corner, and it's when I'm quieter, when I'm more peaceful, when I'm fitter, when I'm healthier, when I have more money. You know, we get around the corner, we say, oh, that's great. Oh, look, there's another corner. So it's always just outside there, and all that is just this model of reality. And all that is this thing called me. And so actually, everyone is yearning for, really for their own absence. That's what they're actually yearning. And what we think we are looking for, we have some idea, and we think it's something to do with me. So I'm too much this, and I'm not enough this. So I need to get this up and get this down. You know? And incredibly, what you're yearning for has nothing to do with you at all. Doesn't matter how neurotic you are. It doesn't matter, because it's all a story. It's what's been spoken about here this evening is too simple, too ordinary, too direct, and too much already the case.
Yeah.
That's why what's been yearned for is so simple and ordinary and inescapable. When you feel separate, there's a continual rejection of it in favour of some idea, enlightenment, peace, blah 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 blah, whatever. And everyone's got a different blah blah blah. So then we kind of look under this rock and under this, in this place and that, and we hear stories about these people who found wholeness and oneness and whatever, and we feel, oh, that's good, that's amazing, and we go to see them and we go, oh, I felt the energy, it was lovely, you know. They were so peaceful. They were so peaceful. It was so beautiful. And it's all a story, because there's no special. There is no special. It's a story. It's a dualistic dream. And that's okay. That's totally fine. That's not wrong or right or anything. And if someone feels that this is my master, this is my guru, that's aliveness appearing to play that game. And it will appear to play that game until it just falls apart. There's nothing to get. There's nothing to know. There's nobody who knows. It's all in the story.
It can't really be imagined, and that's what happens
At all.
here. Yeah.
It cannot be imagined at all in any way, shape or form.
No.
Because if you imagine it, You've got an idea
Yeah.
and a concept,
And concept.
and I do not know what I'm talking about. And if it's a clear communication, it will come from somebody who has no idea what they're talking about. And if they do know what they're talking about, it's not a clear communication.
Wow.
Because if they know what a thing called non-duality, there's no such thing as non-duality, but if they know it, what they're doing is, it's somebody who knows something, who is speaking to somebody and is imparting knowledge to them, and it's energetically completely different to this. And it's not wrong or right, it doesn't matter, it's just what appears to happen. But a clear communication is from nobody. And it's not about knowing, because knowing it comes from a sense of separation. It's two, it's me, it's aliveness and me who's alive, and out of that separation I abstract a sense of knowing. It has to be separate.
Can can you can the person what's the word I'm trying to think of, continually deny somehow that is blocking?
Yeah, nobody can hear me in this room. So I'm not speaking to an individual.
Yeah.
I'm not speaking to any individuals here at all. All weekend I will not, because I can't see an individual to speak to. It's impossible. And the individual cannot hear what's being said here, because the individual can only be an individual. That's what it's not heard. This is not heard by the individual. The individual takes what's said, filters it through some conceptual framework of what they know of the world, and fits it in. Either completely rejects this. This is bad news for the individual. This is mostly rejected. People do not want this, and this can be immensely confronting. Doesn't have to be. Someone might feel it all confronted, but it can be immensely confronting because they would have a sense immediately that they're in deep shit here. Because this is the song of their absence. They could actually die. You could actually die in this room as an individual, but you would only apparently die. So the individual cannot hear this at all, and will only make something of it, or you could completely just reject it and stand up and walk out, and people do, and that's just aliveness, or just say, "Oh, I have to nip to the bathroom," and nip out the bath, and they're gone. And it's self-preservation, you see, because they really sense this is not good. This is not Eckhart Tolle. This is not what I signed up for. Or else what you can do also, another way of doing it is sit through the whole thing and filter it. And say, yeah, I hear what he's saying, and it's the same as, I won't name any names, or it doesn't matter. Because this is totally impersonal anyway. So there's the two ways. It doesn't matter. This is all energetic. There's a resonance, when this resonates, it's totally beyond understanding. It's nothing to do with consciousness, awareness, knowing, understanding. And it's that lived sense of having a life. It's indescribable, and it's completely ordinary, and it's that there's just what's appearing to happen. And that's as close as I could say it, but it's indescribable. So that you go from feeling that there's something happening to me and other people to there's just aliveness, and it's unknowable, and then it's total free fall. Then anything could appear to happen, and it's always new. 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 It's always new because it never happened before. Because this is nothing being everything. Your sense that it's repeating and it's kind of, I was in the quietude last month. I know the quietude. Another speaker, non-dual speaker, I heard that, and I know all about that. You know what I mean? You have a lived sense of repetition and a lived sense of, here it's Monday again, and here's this guy, I know this guy. And that's all from a sense of being separate. And the newness isn't seen. So there's a kind of a staleness to things a bit. You wonder what's that about? And that's all that is you in your knowing, in your loop. Because nothing is seen as it is. It's an object, and it's in time.
is not even logical.
Mm.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
It's so obvious it's just this.
yeah.
It's just this.
Yeah, it could, to somebody it could feel very solid and real, and to another character it could feel very, what's the word, kind of ethereal or very kind of, for some, like for me it never had a very solid sense, even when I did have a sense of, there was something about it I always questioned. For others it's so solid, and because it's like a real kind of anchor for them, you know, it's a real sense of boom, boom. So for some, like that would be really threatening actually. What do you mean there's no time? No, there is. The time is very real. So it's different for everyone. But yeah, it can be seen that it's like, what do you mean? You know, it's a story.
Yeah.
You could say it's real and unreal if you want to. I mean, some people describe it like that. What I would mean by that, it's real in its appearance. You know, we arrived at 7 o'clock. We arrived for a 7 o'clock start. And it'll finish at 8:30. So it's a function in the story, but that's all it is. And as an individual, you don't feel it's a part of the story. You feel it's this real thing, like just as space is absolutely real. We're talking about the same thing. And we're talking about, when we talk about causality, we're talking about actually the same thing as well, really.
So, as you say, it's a story.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Does this mean that one could question, well, what's the purpose of living if it's just a story and it's not true?
One could do whatever they want. So any question of anything, but from this communication, there's absolutely no purpose whatsoever, because the purpose comes from the meaning maker that is the individual, that lays over a meaning onto things in a dualistic reality and wants to find purpose and meaning in life. So that's all directly from the individual. So it's so, aliveness doesn't need meaning or purpose, because it's just aliveness. It's just immediately what is and isn't. But the individual in that dualistic reality wants to find meaning and purpose as part of their sense of knowing.
Yeah, well, it leads a lot to the imagination, if you want. Think about it, I mean, this also raises the question, when we think about duality, of course, those are social constructs, as we, in our stories, believe what's good and bad. But I also am very believing, and it's my story, that it's more than just non-duality. I mean,
There's no such thing as non-duality.
well,
There's not even such thing as non-duality.
well, that's your argument.
It's kind of an argument. I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
what I believe is, as you were humbly listening, is that, you know, I tend to reach into the areas of what Friedrich Nietzsche was aiming towards. He was believing that there's got to be more than this. I'm just saying, in the story that you're saying that's not in existence, I definitely believe that as humans with a finite life here, that there's something more than just saying, well, it's, you know, we're believing in this, we're trapped in this dualistic way of thinking. Just a commentary on looking at things a little more objectively.
I have an off question to that.
Huh?
I have a question that's connected with that. Is it valid to find purpose?
In the stories, I think it's
I
valid.
mean, but where would it be, how would it be of any
So
value? I guess
well, it is of no value whatsoever. But what I'm saying is, there's just aliveness, right? And aliveness is whatever is appearing to happen. If you feel that you're alive, then there's value to have purpose. Then in your story, there's value to find purpose in life. And what's being suggested here is that's just a story.
So are you able to say that you do or don't have a story that gives you purpose? Or
I don't have anything. This is about complete, total loss of everything. That's what's actually yearning for. Paradoxically, you feel as an individual, you're trying to get something, understand something, have an experience, and state. Actually, what's being yearned for is complete total loss and complete poverty. And in that total poverty, there's nothing to know, there's nothing to understand, and nothing is everything, is unconditional love. And so the sense, it's not I can't describe what it's like to not be an individual, but the sense of me having a life isn't there anymore, and it's very simple. There's just what's appearing to happen. That's all there is.
So if there is no purpose, then why are you making it your mission to share it?
I'm not making my.
So
those
I'm
are
not-
your words then.
This is not your voice.
There's just speaking. So what there's an idea there that this character is making it my mission to share something. So that's another story.
It is.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was asking you. It's a story.
Everything is a story. Yeah.
Okay.
How do we use that then? How does
It's
it-
useless. This weekend is completely useless.
Yeah.
It's
That's what I
totally. This
want.
is the most useless thing you're ever going to hear.
There you go.
If it was of use to you, then it would be dualism. If you came here and I was giving you something that you could use, then you would be hearing a dualistic message that would only reinforce that you are an individual, that there is a thing called wholeness, and you can somehow get there, or whatever language you want to use. So if you hear clear communication, it has to be completely and utterly useless, because if it wasn't, then it would be in some way implying that you do have a life and you can implement what's been said in some way. What's been yearned for is totally useless.
Fair, 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 fair.
It's simple. It's not what you think it is. It can't be what you think it is. When we talk about liberation or enlightenment, whatever, what happens is you have an idea of that, and you work towards that idea of it, and that is usually in this dualistic kind of sense of it's something kind of where I don't really feel confusion or pain. Everybody loves me. It's in this kind of whole. That's because in that dualistic dream, we're pulling in one thing and we're pushing away another.
Right.
So we're pulling in comfort and we're pushing away discomfort.
Right.
So the idea then you have of it is usually kind of some along those lines. And actually it's laughable. When the sense of you isn't there, it's hilarious that what you thought you were looking for is just hilarious. It's complete rubbish.
Let me stand back.
Well, it's not even you, but when it's just seen, it's just that you were all the time striving for some sort of story, and you listen to these people who are so-called teachers, and they reinforce this idea of special, there's something special, whatever. It's hilarious because actually what you've always yearned for has never left you or gone anywhere.
Well,
It's
how
just
does
been
the
simple.
knowledge- How does this knowledge help then?
It,
So I hear what you say, I understand what you say,
yeah,
but how does the knowledge help?
it doesn't help. How could it help?
Yeah, because you have to have a self, but you
Yeah,
have to be.
yeah. If I was here to help you, we would be in for a different ride all weekend. Because it would actually be very relaxing then. It would be very. The individual, the apparent individual, would find it. Oh, this is great, and I can apply it to this theory and that theory, and I'm safe. Immediately, they would feel safe. I'm safe now in my sense of me. There is nobody to help. There is nowhere to get to.
There's nobody to help.
There
you.
is no separate you.
Yeah.
So what's yearned for is only simply whatever's appearing to happen, and that's all the sharing is. And the questions appear, and the answer appears, and it's, as I said at the beginning, there's just this resonance to this that's either felt or isn't. And it can also be that there's a resonance and also a sense of being confronted by this. It can be simultaneously kind of a push-pull thing. So there's just what's appearing to happen. So someone could be sitting there in total confusion. And the confusion is it. But if you feel like an individual, you'd feel It's the clarity. I need to move the confusion away.
Exactly.
I like feeling like an individual and separate.
Yeah.
I really don't like people that much, and in my own separateness, I can
People
at
are
least...
overrated.
Huh?
People are overrated.
Yeah, people are overrated.
Their stories are overrated.
I'm joking around, but I mean, so there's no agenda here. I don't know if someone has sensed that or not. There's no agenda here because I'm already not speaking to an individual. So there either appears to be a sense of being an individual, or there doesn't. And all that's seen here is aliveness. So there's no agenda for someone to not feel like an individual. So there's just what's appearing to happen. So, and if as you say, if there's a sense of, well, I'm kind of plodding along and I'm happy enough with being the manager director of my life and I think it's going swimmingly actually, then happy days.
It would be worth laughing at if you meant that, but you don't.
Okay.
Says my individuality
Okay.
and my story and my illusion in this three-dimensional world that Einstein has quickly confronted us as. What you're proposing is really insane.
Oh, lovely.
But that, beautiful. Wait a minute, let me finish. I haven't been doing too much marijuana. Is that you got to watch out for this message. Because if you think everything is nothingness, you're sticking your foot in your mouth, buddy. Because we live in this world where we have our body. And you can smirk and say, I'm getting into my individual. But you are too, just by laughing. Right? Remember, it's non-dualistic. Right? It's not. You're believing in your story, just like I am. But you don't have any empirical evidence to prove this. It's just a thought, right? You can make money at it.
It is a thought.
Huh?
It is a thought.
It's a thought that you can make money and you can be the next guru, right?
When you say right to me, do you expect a response? Or?
No,
I just wondered,
I know
because you keep saying it to me.
I know the game you're playing and you're not brave enough to say right. How's that?
My friend always quotes Einstein when he says reality is an illusion.
Mm-hmm.
Einstein says it, although it's a persistent one.
Einstein said it was a dream as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's nice.
yeah.
I mean,
That was his story.
but I'm just saying you used Einstein, so.
Yeah. Okay.
Kenneth, you know when you talk about, when you say something's unhelpful or this is unhelpful or useless or purposeless or meaningless,
Yeah.
one of the things that occurs is I don't have any idea what any of that means.
Mm.
Like, I'm in a concept with meaning and purpose and helpfulness,
Mm.
and then I'm in a concept with purposelessness, meaninglessness, and unhelpful. Like,
Mm.
But I don't actually have any idea what that means when you say it. It's like just this
That's
wider
what I'm saying. What's being suggested when I say that is, as an individual, right? The story of being an individual, you feel you need help, and there's something to know and something to get, and somewhere to get to.
Sure.
So then you want to, when you go to hear somebody, you're kind of thinking, so, and this is totally fine. Of course it is. You're saying, like, how does this help me? Like, how can I? What can I get from this to help me with my life? So that's what's been illuminated. This is simply the suggestion. You don't have a life. You don't have a life. So how there's no sense of that there's someone there to help, and it's also what's being said is there's nothing to know here. There's nothing to understand. So usually you would go to hear somebody and you would then get the information and put it to use in your life, in your knowing. So that's what, do you understand what I mean when I say it?
Yeah.
Because there's just wholeness, aliveness, just whatever is appearing to happen. It's so simple and ordinary and direct. It does not mean any meaning, and it's the apparent individual who's putting meaning and purpose onto things. In the dualistic dream, that they have a life, and there's a real sense of having a life and moving forward in life with purpose. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So none of that is wrong.
Yeah.
It's just what appears to happen. It's just an aspect of the story of feeling separate. This doesn't need your meaning. It's just aliveness. It's just.
Well, one thing I know is you're not a salesman. One thing I know in my little story is you're not trying to sell me something. I'm here because
Actually,
something about this resonates with me a little.
Yeah.
I can't tell how much, but it does.
You didn't see the luggage. It's full of nothing. And so what I do is I give you taste. And on Sunday I get my little luggage. And you see it then, I just park it up here. And someone says, what's in the bag?
I already told them you
I just
should
brought a
sell
bit of
those
nothing.
pens. You should sell pens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't expect you to sell me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously having fun and everything, but like a clear sharing is there's absolutely no agenda. There's nowhere to get to. There's nothing, and it's energetically completely different. All that I can see is unconditional love, and there's no I that sees that as body and then what when we talk like this, then it's obvious that some people feel they have a life, and they ask questions or whatever. But there's no agenda here for anyone to fall away because there already is nobody. So when someone says, well, I don't, maybe they say, I don't like this, I don't like what you're saying, I don't agree with you, whatever. All I can see is unconditional love saying, I don't like this, I don't like it. And what? So what? So there's no agenda for anything to be different, because aliveness just appears as an individual, or like when I frequently there's the sense of being an individual just isn't there, but that's like, okay, that's what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a goal of here, because there's really no difference. Just there appears to be in the story. Yeah. And you with your marketing, you're like, oh my God. Yeah, totally. I mean, it's wonder anybody shows up to these. It's wonder anybody shows up. It's the most devastating. This is the most devastating communication for the individual, and yet people appear to come and ask questions, and there's a sense of there's something about what I don't really like what you're saying, maybe, but there's something. Yeah.
It's not about not liking it.
No, but I'm just talking about it. It's not about anything to do with knowing. It doesn't matter about liking it or not liking it. It doesn't. There's nothing to know here. There's nothing to know. There's nothing to find. There's nothing to get. It's not about a state. It's not about an experience. It's just a sharing, and it doesn't matter. it can be sensed that this is actually, right, the shift can be that I've entered a room in North Carolina, right, called Quietude, and the shift can be, it's the exact same, and actually this is wholeness rooming, and it's absolutely boundless, infinite and eternal. And that's not an intellectual knowing, that's just and that is only seen when the sense of separation just isn't there. Not like any kind of intellectual kind of understanding of that is just forget about it.
And you've never moved.
No, it's a story that I've come over from Ireland. Nobody's ever gone anywhere. But in the dualistic dream, of course, I could tell you that I caught 3 flights and I travelled X amount of miles and all of that, and it was just a story. It's an appearance. Yeah.
The appearances just change,
Yeah.
but this never moves.
No, it's like some people see it first with the time. Some people see it with the time. They very much see it as there can't be time. There's just no time. Like, where's the boundary? Where's the we started at 7:05.
Yeah.
Let's say 7. Give them a time from they won't feel cheated then. 5 minutes.
But where is it?
Well, where is it? Like
Where is
7
it?
o'clock. Like where? And then right. This is the next game, right? That we're in the moment. So where is this moment you're talking about? Oh, you know the moment. No, I don't know the moment. Tell me the moment. Oh, this moment. When did it start? Oh, a moment ago. When will it end? When's the future start? Yeah. Can you tell me when the future starts? Show me when the future starts. It's just a concept. But just like the sense that you have that you're real, it doesn't feel like a concept. So for some, that's really like a real sense of feeling like an individual is a linear, logical, sane kind of movement through life. Mm-hmm. And the suggestion being made here is that actually that's a story. You are not moving through life, and the sense that there's time, space, causality, all of that is just an aspect of that dream of you. Nobody's ever been born or died, or only in the story they appear to have.
I like what you said about the linear, and then actually it's this way, not this way.
Oh yeah, we were earlier on when we were talking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, look at that symbol on the wall. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the if you having a life as an individual, you're in this linear logical sense of one thing happens, then another thing happened, then another thing happened, and a sense it's happening to me and other people, and that's that, and boom, this is what's yearning for, is just boom, and this is unknowable, and this is all there is. This is all there is. But you may feel like you're potting along on this until you die. Most people, it's till they die, and then on death it's seen. It's just seen by nobody. That was just a story. Like life is, the individual wants the logical, the linear, and all of that, and actually it's illogical. This is duality. We push away this and we want this. We want sane, we push away insane. We want logic, we push away illogic. We want special, we push. You know what I mean? And this is what's the dualistic play that we're in. It's a dream. Because that's everything is just aliveness, appearing as its opposite. So actually when you have pain and you have a sense of, say there's emotional pain, right? And as an individual you will really feel, I got to do something about this. I got to understand the emotional pain. Was it to do with my relationship with my mother? Was it to do with the trauma I experienced? And it's this whole narrative around it. And then you're fed all of this information of, no, this is what, you know. And so you're pushing away that, there's a sense of pushing that away and pulling in. And then the pulling in will be different for everybody. It might be something as simple as putting on runners and go for a run. Or it might be reaching for a beer. Or it might be reaching for the pills. And it's a sense of, it's continual sense of agitation with pushing away one thing and pulling in another. And the incredible thing is that the sense of pain is already it. That's it. It's wholeness. The wholeness that's yearned for and spoken of is simply whatever's appearing to happen. It's never left you. There's no you there. Confusion, pain. No, you could say, whatever you say to me is just aliveness.
The shift happened for me when I realized the longing is it.
The longing is it,
The
exactly,
longing is
yeah.
it, and even the, is this it, or this can't be it, is it.
Exactly.
That was it, and it was just like.
And it's
holy
kind of
shit.
game over then.
Yeah, it was game over, and then I was sitting there looking at my bedroom wall, and I said, no one's seeing this wall. And then all of a sudden, on the wall, there's everything. And
Yeah.
it's just, it's seamless. It's like,
And you can't describe that, and I can't describe that, and nobody has ever been able to describe that. And it is the most simple, ordinary, obvious, just, it is so direct and not
Intimate.
special.
yeah.
It couldn't be, it's more intimate than intimacy.
Mhm.
It's just, and that's the difficulty. Nobody can talk, nobody can say what it is.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, everyone that's listening goes, and who did you study under? Who's your guru? What's the lineage of the teaching? And you're like, for fuck's sake, you're not listening to me. It's just this. It's just fucking, like, come on, you're not hearing me. But they can't hear you. They can't hear you because it's the individual cannot hear anything that's being said here. So energetically, there's a sense of being separate, or there isn't. But that's the way you put it is exactly it. It's not that this big explosive, the me fell away,
Right.
all the fucking fireworks, and there was a big party.
Yeah.
It's not, can't be what you think it is. And it's that direct, exactly what you said. It's like the longing, is it? It's like,
You can't.
now where is
escape
there,
it. It's everything.
it's inescapable then.
Yeah.
And then where is there to go to?
I mean, it's.
There's
so
no there's no
weird.
longer anywhere to go to then. So you go, yeah, you should be up here, you're better than me. I did feel a sense of specialness off you anyway. Not you so much. It's gorgeous. There's no special. There's no one that's special. There's no special, not special.
Yeah.
There's just aliveness. Boundless, unknowable, unconditional love. That's all there is.
How can you say unconditional love when you claim the duality thing? I mean, isn't love an aspect of that duality?
It's just a phrase, and any words are inadequate, totally inadequate. So, unconditional love here, all that can be done is to illuminate that it's not the interpersonal love that we think of, which is actually a meeting of needs. So when I say unconditional love, like, I mean, when I first thought, this was first seen, I would have been familiar with all that Rogerian kind of person-centered, seeing someone as they are stuff. And he would have, at one point he would have said unconditional positive regard. At one point he actually all called it unconditional love. And so I always found this very strange, because I said, that's a really nice idea, just to accept someone as they are and not what you think they are and everything. And it's a nice concept and everything. And then when this was seen, that's why the term unconditional love, because it's not you that's seeing them or accepting them as they are. There's no sense of you, and there's just aliveness, and aliveness is a body. That's all there is. So that's what I mean when I say unconditional love. And what I also mean, when I say that also is, it absolutely isn't the love that we would think of, because the love that we would think of is the opposite of hate. You know, but this one is actually, when I say the term, I mean aliveness that appears as its opposite also. So forget about it, you can't understand it. But there's no other term that could be, there's no satisfactory term. So
No, but it sounds good as a story though, unconditional.
it sounds as it sounds. So some people don't like it and some people like it and whatever.
Okay. I'll buy half of that.
Yeah, don't even buy half of it. Don't buy anything. I would say don't buy anything. I'm saying. I would. There's no agenda here, right? There's nothing to understand. There's nothing to accept. I don't give two shits if you believe. It's not about believing me. If you believe me, what is there to believe? Like, I'm not trying to. It's not about knowing.
Yeah,
It's not about understanding or knowing or anything, because that's all the sense of being an individual.
Okay.
So this is either this sense it resonates or it doesn't.
Yeah. Resonates or not. Sounds dualistic.
And that's it too.
What?
What you just said is it too. It's always this,
Yeah.
Yeah.
your words, we're chirping. There's no meaning behind our words. It's just, you know, when you're trying to grasp at what he's saying and trying to make sense of it and fit it into your paradigm, that's a knowing. And the freedom behind what he's saying is there's no guru, there's no authority. It's always this immediacy, booming, boom, boom, boom. So by trying to like conceptualize it, you're boxing it into a paradigm of what you expect it to be versus just this aliveness every moment to moment.
No, I'm not putting it into a paradigm. I'm just repeating what you said in my own way. I'm like many other people in here trying to understand this. So
You cannot go, like, you can't, nobody, remember at the beginning of this, I said, it's impossible to go right or wrong with this. It's impossible. So if there's a question, it is a question. If there isn't a question, there isn't a question. And if there's a comment, there's a comment. If there isn't, it does not matter, because all that is seen here is aliveness. It's just it just is what it is. So someone says, if this like resonates, oh, yeah, this is whatever, or if it's not, or if confronted, it's just simply what's appearing to happen.
sorry.
It's so freeing,
It's
so freeing.
indescribably free. All there is, it's boundless freedom.
Sorry.
It's boundless freedom, yeah.
I was with a guru for like 13 years, you know,
Yeah.
it's always pounding in. You gotta find that, yeah, and then
It's
this
indescribable.
is so freeing. I can just,
Yeah. It's
can't explain how.
no, you can't. Of course you can't. Nobody can. It's complete boundless freedom,
Yeah.
and that's all there is. It's boundless. It's just indescribable.
Yeah.
And obviously, boundless freedom will appear to not be free. If it's boundless freedom, it will appear to be bound.
Whatever.
You know.
And
Yeah.
you still talk about your kids.
Yeah, of course,
Your life
yeah.
at home and your wife and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, of course,
That's
yeah.
all still part of the situation.
Yeah. So it's, you see, there's just aliveness, and the sense that they're my kids just isn't there anymore. So there's, when I chat, and we've been chatting a lot over the last few days, it's just chat. So there's no sense here of having to talk in a dualistic way, or sorry, a non-dualistic way to clarify. When I say my, say I said, my son, blah blah blah. There's no sense of, you know, the person appearing as my son. So it doesn't matter. It's just stories. When there's a sharing like this, there's a woof. There's an energy. I don't go. This character doesn't go around chatting like this all the time. So there can be a thing. Oh, what do you think of this? Oh yeah, it does. Blah 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 blah. It doesn't matter. And as we've been chatting over the last few days, that was frequently said. Oh yeah, it's just a story. Appears like this, appears like that, whatever. It's just energy. But really, the sense is the lived sense that I have a wife, I have kids, to the sense that there's no me. I don't have anything, but fathering happens. Fathering, being a partner, appears to happen. And that's the way it is. When you feel that you are an individual, you will feel that you have the children, they're your children. Or that you have a girlfriend, or you have a wife, or you have a boyfriend or a husband. And it's a really felt thing. And then you will sense that you've got a thing called a relationship. That you need to water the plant, you know. You need to nurture it and all that. And actually, there's nothing there. It's a story. And funny enough, when that's seen, it's actually free to be as it is. But when there's a sense that there is another person and some sort of relating, then there's a neurosis and a heaviness to that. And it's just nobody has anything. Nobody has anything. But they think they have something. This is very, excuse me, this is very simple and ordinary and obvious. What's been shared. So it's just very...
Simple, but does it come in glimpses or like quick realizations or small?
It can come in glimpses, but they wouldn't be your glimpses. But it can. I use the word resonate, so this can just resonate. Yeah. And some people talk about glimpses, and often when they talk about glimpses, there's a language around it that the logical thing again would be that I had a glimpse, and then they would hear from someone who had a glimpse.
That was talking about.
Yeah.
That type of thing where it just all falls away for a moment.
Yeah, yeah. And so when that was shared there, here it's very obvious that there's nobody there that something happened to. There was just a sharing of what appeared to happen. But then if there was a sense of being an individual, then what would appear to happen is, there was this sense that there was yearning, and there was just the yearning. And when you feel like an individual, you would feel, and this is what happened to me. And then you would try to understand it, and you would meet like a gajillion people who will tell you what happened.
Right.
And they call themselves teachers and gurus and whatever. And this is what appears to happen. None of it's right or wrong, it's all an appearance. But this is the simple suggestion that there's no you that has a glimpse. There's no you that has an awakening, actually. And actually, the other thing about the glimpses is they're completely irrelevant, which is quite a shock to the individual, because the individual would, back in 1989 when I was on the beach and the sun was a certain way, and I've been fucking chasing that moment